Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Hope everyone is having a great day. So the topic today comes up a lot, so it's not the first time I've done a live on this, and I guarantee it won't be the last. Sorry, my phone was falling. Do you run your day or does your day run you? Now, I know if you're an entrepreneur, you run any type of business, you've had this, issue or difficulty. If you're a parent, if you're a mompreneur, I know you can feel this. I would say it's probably one of the number one things that I talk about either with like business partners or mentors or my team. Definitely with my team when I'm trying to help them get started is, how do you balance it all? How do you, control the hectic? It doesn't have to feel super hectic to be productive. So first of all, if you're watching this, it doesn't matter if you jump on here live or if you're watching it in replay or way down the road. If you can relate to this or if you have ever felt that way, let me know. Drop me a gift. That's my new thing, right? My husband and I think basically pretty much communicate with that these days. But, do you run your day or does your day run you? How can you balance it all and still feel productive? Because, I know my mamas can feel me out there. Sometimes if I'm working on my business, I feel really maybe guilty that I'm not spending as much time on the house. Or if I'm working on the house, I feel maybe guilty that I'm not, currently working on my business. And I'm definitely, a pretty structured individual. I don't know if I'm pretty sure I was born with it, but all those years of in the classroom, having to structure my day. But I have found that if you do a few key things, it has really helped me over the years to run my business and be productive. So one of the difficulties before I got started in, when you have your own business is you don't have a boss over you. And most of the time you don't even have your own hours unless you make them. So, a lot of people, and I've had people on my team do this, as soon as they, go into business or get started, they immediately give themselves a vacation. And, that's just not going to get you going. And maybe you're the opposite of that. I know I have a sideline buddy who, basically runs her business nonstop. I start to feel guilty because she's getting so much more done than me. But then what happens? She burns herself out and then she really has to shift back into this my family needs attention. And so, I feel like we've all struggled with this. I in no means have it perfected. I feel like it's a process. But I do know that I've definitely learned some tips over the years to kind of help balance it all and to still feel productive and then just put the guilt down. And sometimes it is just the decision to do that. So if you feel like you're juggling it all, there's not enough hours, you just, you feel like you have to be running hectic. For me, I felt like I was much more at peace and I was happier when I scheduled in margin in my day, which means I gave myself time to breathe. If you're running back to back calls or back to back, whatever. And we've all had days where that has to happen. But if you are taking a kid to soccer practice and you're trying to run a call, and you're like, yeah, I'm productive, you feel like a badass that day. And then the next time you try to run that call, the kid's crying in the back, right? We've all had those days where you're just like, oh my God, this is just too much for me to juggle. So, you want to constantly figure out ways to, level up, streamline, automate things. My business, I don't want my business completely dependent on me and the hours that I'm available to put in for the day. So there are some things on automatic that are helpful when I'm not around that are automated, right? So that I can continue to make money and people can continue to get trainings or whatever. And they don't always need me. So that when I do have those crazy hectic days, it doesn't matter, right? So I don't know if you guys have had one of these, but this morning was one of those mornings. Dog was a mess. Neither kid wanted to get up. It was just so hectic first thing in the morning that by the time I got my children to school, and it's Teacher Appreciation Week, and I wanted to send them both flowers, and then we had an accident with the flowers and we had to get new flowers. Who can feel me on this? Because by the time I had dropped my kids off and it's 8:00, I felt like my day was done. And I had to regroup and I had to step back. So we have days like that. I'm not saying that we don't, but I have learned that most of the time, if you will take the time to streamline your day, and to write out and a few tips, then it is much more successful. I did want to share this with you guys. If you have not read, and I realize it might be backwards, The Miracle Morning, and this one is specifically for network marketers. I've read both. I actually share this with my team. I think this is my second or third copy because I keep giving my other one away. This is amazing. Hi, Diana. Anyway, if you have not read this book, this is amazing. So part of me felt really good when I read this because I'm pretty structured. And the other half of me felt lame because I'm not naturally, you can totally relate. I knew it. I'm not naturally a morning person. So Diana, I don't know. Are you a morning person? I've learned to be, right? As my kids have gotten like, you know, when they're around and they get up, and now we've got a puppy. So now that my kids finally sleep in, somebody in our house, which was me, got the bright idea to get a puppy. Now the puppy's up. But if I take that extra hour in the morning and I go through, I am more productive in the first hour and I feel better about the entire rest of my day. And I feel like I have that balance. So for one, and some of these are in the book, and I was like, yes, I'm winning at this thing because I did a lot of them. And I think part of that is, you know, when you're focused on your health and you're focused on your business, you know, some of them are common sense or things you kind of pick up. The first thing I do when I, you know, when I'm trying to get up, because I'm not a morning person, is I literally, like, I lay there and pray. So it doesn't matter if you just lay there and you think about, you know, things that you're grateful for, and you start each day with a grateful heart. Oh, mom of three. Yeah, you do know. You know, for me, sometimes I just pray that Lord, please just help me get up. I just need help getting up. And sometimes it's, okay, I'm grateful. I'm grateful today's Friday. I'm grateful that the kids are home today and I don't have to take, whatever it is, like that first minute to either meditate, think of things that you're grateful for, a few minutes to pray. It gives for this non-morning person, it gives my mind time to like adjust, right? And then the second thing I do is I drink water. And it does help you wake up. It helps wake your system up. I actually set an entire glass, and unless my son comes in the middle of the night and drinks it, I put lemon water so it's lukewarm. And I'm talking like a full 12, 16 hour, and I just down it first thing. My husband is like a jump in the shower in the first 30 seconds. Usually I'm headed to the gym, and I've done that the night before. So splash water, wake yourself up. You guys, I know it sounds crazy, but I've stumbled around here without doing those things in my pajamas, and I just wander around aimlessly because I'm not awake. So, and some of those are in the Miracle Morning, and you're like, oh, you know, all right, these are not business tips. No, they're productive tips. And when I do that, and then I take a few minutes to either stretch or roll. I am that weirdo that has the like foam roller next to my side of the bed. And it doesn't take me long, but because I do go to the gym every day, there's usually something when I wake up that's like, I don't know if you guys can relate. Over 40, I'm like, oh my God. Okay, 30 seconds on the roller, good to go. Or a stretch or whatever it is. Just get your body moving. It doesn't have to be a 20-minute workout. It doesn't even have to be a 10-minute stretch. I'm not even kidding. 90 seconds, I'm literally, no pun intended, ready to roll. So, and then, you know, in the morning, they talk about, you know, making sure you get like inspirational reading and all of this. I have struggled, I'm not going to lie, in the morning. I get my kids up between 6 and 6:30, depending on what time we have to be out the door. So if I get up at 6, I get a lot done before 7:30, right? Sometimes I literally feel like I've had a whole day from 6 to 8. So, you know, these are important because that probably what I've listed already, maybe 10 minutes, not even. All right, this may be TMI, but yeah, my husband doesn't even have an alarm. He just gets up. Who does that? Don't know. He leaves at like 4:30 in the morning. So maybe he's wired that way. I don't know. But anyway, so I actually try to do like a reading time and a devotional time. And this may be TMI. All right, Diana, we don't know each other that well. But I do the devotional in the bathroom. I take the daily devotionals or whatever. And, you know, during the course of the day, I'm not even kidding. If you don't take your phone, you could finish like a whole chapter of a book. And we're pretty regular around my house. And that may be TMI for sharing because I just had a customer tell me that her poops were better than sex. And that might be TMI, but I disagree. I said, well, I don't know about you, but I disagree. But first thing in the morning, that's important. That means that you're healthy. And so I have to schedule that in for my kids' mornings. I'm not even kidding. So, stop taking your phone into the bathroom and you can get a lot of reading done. Just saying. All right, side note, I digress. I open up my house. I get fresh air going first thing in the morning. I find it helps my kids get moving, and it just helps everybody. I'm reading my notes that I wanted to share with you guys. Start laundry. How many mamas? Yes, I know. It sounds stupid. You're like, you haven't even gotten to the business part of things. Yes, I know. But I'm going to stay on top of it. I have kids in sports. I have kids in dance. I am literally in probably 2 or 3 times of sweats every single day from working out. If I don't stay on top of that laundry, and there is something about starting a load in the morning that makes me feel productive. And if I go downstairs when I'm letting the dog out and I just keep that laundry rolling, the guilt from not managing the house, it just helps subside it. And then I usually empty the dishwasher and start my day with that. So I always tell my kids, I'm like, what's the easiest way to keep the house clean? And they will tell you to keep the house clean. The easiest way to keep the house clean is keep the house clean. So my kids are really developing those morning skills. My daughter was the worst in the morning to try to get her up and dressed and out the door. And she's in middle school now. And I will say she's better than me. A little annoying sometimes, but it's the truth. So, those morning routines that you are, especially if you're a mom, your kids will pick those up because they're getting those routines. And now people are like, well, how do you keep your house clean? Well, my kids put their dishes in the dishwasher. I make sure it's empty in the morning and they put it in there. So by the time I drop my kids, I'm not coming back home to, let the dog out, do the dishes, open the house up, do my stretching, that's all done in the first hour. So by the time, I take those kids, they know whatever is prepped for the day. And this is key. And I know not everybody does this, but I am super crazy about the meal prep. So I shop once a week and only pretty much because I hate to grocery shop. Sometimes my husband will do it, and then I will make myself a note about what needs to be defrosted. So before the kids' school, I have taken out anything if needed to be for that night, and I've prepped. And my kids and I pack our lunches together for the whole week. Yep. Every Sunday, we pack the lunches for the whole week. And my daughter's gotten crazy. She got these special containers and she writes Monday and Tuesday and she has friends come over and they have lunch packing. Yeah, we're that family. But it helps because I do not stress about lunches, and in the morning I take it out. So that when I sit down to, work on my business, it really is a concentrated effort and I don't feel like I have all of these undone things hanging over my head, like the laundry or the dishes or whatever it is. And then the night before, I write down my top 3 priorities of things that I have to get done. And I really have helped my team do this as well. So maybe it's a customer care call, that you need to do. Maybe it's a Zoom, conference chat that you need to make sure that to remember about. Maybe it's an errand. Who knows? I keep samples, for products for my business, and I need to mail them. So I make sure that the night before those are all addressed or whatever it needs to happen, and then I make myself a note. So come up with your 3 non-negotiables or your priorities. I find it more helpful to have those set the night before. And then you're not wasting hours feeling guilty, right? And you're not, when you're, working on your business, thinking about that this is not done, or doing this at the house and then feeling like this is not done. When you have that work house, when your office is literally your house, it's so hard sometimes to draw that line. Am I right? Can anybody relate? You always either feel like you should be working for home or you should be working on your bit. There's no off hours, right? Before, when I went to, my job, I would drive there and there were set hours and I would do my work and then I would leave that. And then that's not true. I was a teacher. I brought it home with me. But it was easier to separate that work-life balance. But I'm telling you guys, it is so important because a lot of the times we don't feel productive because we just run around like a chicken with our head cut off, feeling like if we don't feel hectic, then we're not doing enough. And if we feel bored, that we're not doing enough. Or if we feel guilty, that there's something that we should feel guilty about because we're not doing enough. And you just have to decide whatever those 3 things that you're going to get done. So, maybe for me, it might be writing an ad or getting content or checking my metrics. Whatever it is, once you've completed those 3 things, Don't do anything else until you do. And so for me, you know, as soon as I drop the kids, I usually head to the gym or maybe I have a couple errands. And then when I come home, that is my time to be productive. And I usually have time blocked, you know, the rest of my day. And I was talking about this with another mom. Diane, you can tell me if you can relate. When she's like, okay, well, I got the morning handled. We're doing this, blah, 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 blah. What about the rest of the day? You know, she's like, I delve into my business and then I'm unable to unplug from it, which I totally understand, right? You get into it and you're like, well, I need to do this and I need to do this and I need to do the training and I need to talk to this person. I need to get this up and running and I need, you know, I need to book this, you know, and you start thinking about all of these things and it's so hard. And if you didn't watch there's one on like Daily Method of Operations, I think was the title of it. But basically it's those non-negotiables that you need to do every day. And then once you've done those, time block those in, right? So like when I used to teach school, you know, there was a plus to being a self-contained classroom because say math was going to be at this time, but we ran a little over because we got into it. That's fine. But you've got lunch or recess, so you've got to be outside. It's the same thing when you're running your own time, right? Because we all have the same amount of time. So maybe you run a little over because you've got really into typing out your content that you're going to, you know, email everybody or whatever. That's fine. You have that allotment. But you've also given yourself that margin that I talked about so that you can kind of breathe easy and it doesn't put you in hectic mode. Because when you're running a tight ship and it's too tight, right? You just feel like you're wound so tight that you're just like, and I get nothing done, right? High emotional level, low intelligence. I am not rationally able to make any more decisions then because I'm hyper emotional, stressed out, wound up, too tight, right? And that is not a productive space to operate. But when I chunk out what I need to get done in those time blocks and I've got that margin leveled in there, I'm so much more at peace. And when the end of the day, maybe I didn't get that last thing done. So it moves to the next day. That's okay. And yes, you're going to have mornings like I had this morning, called my husband crazy, but that's okay because tomorrow is a new day and you can try again. So don't beat yourself up because I don't know about you mamapreneurs out there, but if I don't do it perfectly, sometimes I tend to beat myself up. And so you've just got to learn how to be in the journey and then just keep, right? It's like our health. It's not perfect, but you just have to get to where you keep going, keep trying. Tomorrow's a new day. Well, let's do better. So anyway, I hope that was helpful for you guys. Maybe you got a new tip. I don't know. Go read the book. Go get it. It was super helpful for me. Put it in the bathroom. You could have it read in a week. Anyway, I will talk to you guys soon and go crush it. Have a productive day. See you next time.